All right. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Preacher and the Prodigy podcast, coming to you live from Pewaukee, Wisconsin, on the Diamond Vogel Studios. I'm the Preacher here with the Prodigy, and we are ready to talk about week number 4 in the college football season, to look back a little bit at week 3, and then plunge into the week ahead.
Let's go. Season's really underway now. It's finally looking. We got past the week 3 slate, which was not that good of a slate for college football games, and it's starting to ramp up now. Matchup's going to get better and better. Next week, we get to talk about Georgia-Bama in week 5, how fun that'll be. And you're going to be seeing that a lot more often with these giant conferences now. It's going to be top 25 matchups all across the board. We're just getting started here, and we are ready to dive into week number 4 and talk about what happened last week with the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, so we look at this podcast as a view on the college football landscape through the lens of being Michigan football fans. And last week, just a banner performance by Michigan in a 28-18 win over the Red Wolves of Arkansas State. Let's talk about how our predictions turned out, because both of us, were really pretty close.
Yeah,
in a world where people are predicting 42-7 and things like that, we were not.
We know what we're talking about, but this one really stung. You had 26-14, so in total you were 6 points off, and now on the season through 3 games you have only been 12 points off on the Michigan score. And for me last week, I predicted 28-11. It was 28-10. And the game was over, and Michigan had a 15-yard penalty.
TJ guy.
And then they scored a touchdown and went for 2 to further go away from my score. I had it within 1 point, and Michigan let a garbage time touchdown go through, as they do often. And I ended up being 7 points off the score, so now I'm 21 points off through 3 weeks, which still in itself is not bad either.
Yeah, we saw some third string violence at the end of the last week's game. It wasn't pretty. So I think we have now heard Alex Orji is going to be the starting quarterback against USC. My question is, why in the heck would you announce that? I see no upside at all in making that public. Why not have them preparing all week for Davis Warren and then roll out Alex? It just seems to me, I don't know what we're doing here. What did we see in Alex Orji in this past week that we didn't see in the preseason? My guess is nothing. All we saw is Davis Warren throwing 3 interceptions to Arkansas State. So it's not like Alex Orji has risen up and claimed this. It's that Davis Warren is not good.
Yeah, and you obviously, you just said Davis Warren is not that good, but you look at games like last year, 3rd game of the year against a far inferior opponent, J.J. McCarthy threw 3 interceptions against Bowling Green. Now, I did have a good rest of the game, but so did Davis Warren. He went 12 for 15, I believe. So all of his passes that he threw were caught.
11 for 14.
11 for 14. Mm-hmm. You just can't throw 3 interceptions. You got to limit those, and if you have a bunch of incompletions, it's better than giving them great field position.
I don't think all interceptions are created equally either. You know, I remember some of those McCarthy picks, and he was just trying to do too much. Mm-hmm. And Davis Warren just isn't a good diagnoser of defense.
And that's not exactly Michigan style. They're not going to go 4 or 5 wide and have you go one read to run one read. You have to be able to do a better job than just staring down one guy, because that is what Michigan likes to do. They like to go 1 guy, 2 guy, and if it's not there, try and create something of your own, which worked last year with J.J. McCarthy. But if you're staring down Colson Loveland the whole time, and only Colson Loveland, defense is going to react to that, and if you throw it there, everybody's going to pounce through the ball, and eventually it's going to get intercepted.
Right.
So
it's a great point, and I think that what it also reveals is that these are systemic issues. Why does Davis Warren only go 1 guy, 2 guy? Well, because he doesn't have a lot of options, because Michigan has not recruited good pass catchers. And secondly, he doesn't have time, because the offensive line, we're looking at you, number 71, Evan Link, are not, protecting him, providing him that clean semicircular pocket he needs to look downfield and go through his progressions.
And that's what Alex Orji is going to be able to do against USC, hopefully, is to make plays where there aren't any. When the defensive line gets or the offensive line, gets run over by a better USC front, Davis Warren is not going to be able to escape there, but Alex Orji has the ability to do that because he has a running quarterback.
I think on the upside, but probably one more downside, Tommy Doman, what happened to you? He's
always on or off
good.
because sometimes he has crazy games. You look at Maryland last year, and I think there's another game last year, but there were a few games where he just was incredible punting the ball, and a few games like this past week against the Red Wolves where he just does not do that well at punting, which you need to do if your offense is not being able to move the ball efficiently.
I do want to be fairly optimistic on the basis of the first string defense. Down to down, they were excellent. They should be. I mean, you have a huge problem if they aren't down to down excellent in this case, but they really were good. The problem for Michigan was these stupid penalties and poor play on the money downs on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, a late hit, a hands to the face, someone runs, for some reason Jair Hill is playing 20 yards deep on 3rd and 15 and they run a 16-yard hitch. But other than that, like down to down, Michigan's defensive line looked good. They needed to. I don't think it projects much into the future. But if that's not working, well, then bowl eligibility is really a big question mark.
You mentioned the penalties part. And Michigan last year was, I believe, the best in the country besides a military school and not committing penalties. That was probably based on the veteran leadership and the coaches that they had. Now they don't have that, and now you're seeing some of the lack of maturity, especially along the front seven, and guys like Jair Hill just doing dumb stuff. And believe it or not, that hurts you, and it hurts you more than you might think because those 15-yard penalties stack up quickly.
I think it all sums up to what we were trying to talk about a lot last year was you have to enjoy the magic of the one season you get, where you have match maturity in the roster, you have senior leadership, you have a coaching staff that's been together for a little while, you have an injury-free season, you have the right games home versus away, and it's back to reality for Michigan, and I really think that Sherrone Moore just needs to continue, despite all of the noise from the fans, continue to try to build the team in 2024 the way he wants it to operate in 2027. And that means to me, if you're trying to develop a two-dimensional passing offense, that you continue to ride in a passing mode. You continue to go with Davis Warren. Maybe you try Jack Tuttle. Maybe you throw Jaden Davis out there in fewer than 4 games to preserve his red shirt. I don't like this going back and forth between quarterbacks and between centers. I mean, that's a major red flag. So Ron Moore has a lot to figure out. No one is completely panicking at this point, but no one's feeling like, okay, the floor and the ceiling expectations from the preseason are accurate. They're really, people say, well, like literally there's a 0% chance they're going to go 5-7. No, there's never a 0% chance. The floor is always 0 and 12, as unlikely as it would be. And Michigan's going to not be as good as most people projected them to be.
Well, we want to talk about one more bright side is they outrushed Arkansas State.
The 114th ranked rush defense.
Over 300 yards to 30-something. So if you want to look at a bright side, Michigan's offensive line looked pretty strong against Arkansas State. Now, it is Arkansas State. But you like to see them at least doing something good against somebody and try and build off of that. Kalel Mullings definitely looks like the running back one now. He is just a better running back than Donovan Edwards is in terms of talent. I'm not sure. I think Donovan Edwards is more skilled and he's faster overall. But in terms of just being a down-to-down, vision, low-to-the-ground running back, I think it's got to be Kalel through the rest of the year as RB1.
I think most people would agree with you, and I'm one of them, that Donovan Edwards there's just way too much tape now that shows he is not an instinctive running back. He is a really fast human being who has pretty good hands for a tailback. People say, well, he'd be the best wide receiver on the team. I don't think that's true either. maybe he'd be the fourth best or something like that, but he's primarily an athlete playing football. Caleb Mullings understands what he needs to do, and I would support. If you're going to announce Orji as QB number one, why not just say the same thing about Mullings? It must be because there's some sort of chemistry issue, or there's some leadership that's invested in Donovan Edwards why they continue to do this. So, but now Arkansas State is back in Jonesboro, wherever they come from, and into town ride the University of Southern California Trojans, led by Miller Moss and great coaching staff, and the line is 5.5.
It's 5 now.
It's 5, and there's somebody knows something. Effect is strong.
Yeah, that line seems extremely low. Now, the one caveat that we've talked about is maybe LSU just isn't that great. At the beginning of the year when they beat them on that Sunday night game in week 1, it looked like, wow, USC's really got it all together. Their defense is finally playing, and it looked like they were. They were rushing to the ball and playing to the whistle, and Danton Lynn has done a great, or Lynn or Lynch, I can't remember, has done a great job fixing that defense from what it was with Alex Grinch a year ago. But with LSU having a tight game against South Carolina, it's starting to look less like LSU's a top 10 team and more like they're just another top 25 team. I still believe that USC is probably a better football team right now than Michigan is. However, it'll be interesting to see how the kind of the schemes of both teams, with USC being primarily a passing offense and Michigan being more of a ground and pound and run your head into the dirt kind of an offense and defense. It'll be fun to see how those two kind of clash.
Yeah. So you want to predict your score first? You want me to predict my score first?
You go first. I'm not sure about this game because there are a lot of ways it could go.
I'm just not taking the bait here. I think that USC is going to take Michigan apart. I do not think that Michigan is going to stay on the field long enough offensively. I think Danton Lynn knows enough to play the run. He will be stretched laterally. He knows that, but there's nothing on tape to make you respect the downfield passing game. I think Michigan's going to go run, lousy pass, punt way too often.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to sustain drives, and that means that really quickly the fatigue factor on those top-level first-string defenders is going to give way to others. I think it's just one of those snowball games like Texas from the second quarter on was. I'm going to go USC 33, Michigan 13.
Yeah, the depth is going to be a problem if Michigan's defense is on the field for a long time, because your creme brulee analogy is very accurate, where we are really strong on the top and not that good underneath the starters. And I think the depth that USC has and the speed they have could cause problems. I think it'll probably be a lower scoring game than most people believe. I think Michigan's defense is strong enough, especially with the advantage they have on the front four and front seven, to stop their running game, I would hope, and get to Miller Moss a little more than people would expect. I still believe that USC will be able to work around that. So give me USC to win this game 26-13. Weird score. Another weird score.
I had 33-13.
Right,
What I was saying is, like, I had this half of mind to copy paste the Arkansas State score and just flip it on the team, so it'd be USC 28, Michigan 18. I'm going to go 33-13. I want to be wrong, but I think USC comes in and shows something, and Michigan is left with a lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Yeah. Well, we both picked USC to cover, and that is one of our 5 games that we are going to pick. Every week we pick 5 games nationally, 5 of the generally best games against the spread. We are keeping a running tally of our scores, and right now you are a blazing hot 10-5 against the spread. I'm not far behind at 9-6, so together we are both doing very well in terms of picking these games. And this week is going to be a better week than last week. It's hard to do worse. But like I said at the beginning of this podcast, it's going to start to get really fun with these interesting
What week
matchups.
is Oregon State host Ohio State? Is that week 6?
Oregon hosts Ohio State. I think the date is October 12th. I can't remember what week it is. But that October 12th, you want to save that date in your calendars because there are a lot of matchups. Do not schedule a wedding on October 12th.
Well, if you're scheduling your wedding at this point in time, you're probably not going to get married. But
that's a good point. But
don't schedule anything.
Don't go to a wedding on October 12th.
Don't allow any leaves to fall from the trees that you'd have to rake. And don't allow your house to be short on groceries, so you have to come out right. All right, we got 4 games. Let's go.
All right, we are going to start off with another Friday night game. This is an interesting game. I thought it'd be fun to pick. Top 25 matchup. Both these teams in the top 25 is Illinois and Nebraska. Former Big Ten West teams. This is a night game at Nebraska, and the Huskers are favored by 7.5 points. Who are you taking?
Do I have to go first on this one?
You do.
I thought I went first on the Michigan one, but okay.
All right, well, I can go first.
Yeah.
I'll have a pick here. I think that I've seen more from Nebraska. That Illinois win against Kansas is looking less impressive now that Kansas lost to UNLV. And Nebraska is just overall looking like a better team. Illinois is too one-dimensional, only being able to pass the ball. I think that's going to be hard. The night environment, Memorial Stadium, give me Nebraska to cover 7.5, and they will win the game. 20... Now, we'll go 31-17. Nebraska wins.
As you may recall, I foolishly picked Colorado to cover at Memorial Stadium. And I'm a believer in Nebraska. I don't think they're a national title team yet. I think that they have reason to be pretty hopeful for the next 3 years because Mr. Raiola's around. But they're good. And so I agree with you. I think Nebraska wins the game at home and covers that 7.5. Give me the Huskers.
Matt Rule is doing an incredible job.
Fighting Jalen Gramstad.
Here. We move on after we agree to another Big Ten West versus Big Ten West former game. Now a rivalry. It is Iowa and Minnesota in Week 4.
Oh my goodness!
This
is the best we got.
I mean,
all right, let's roll.
It's an interesting game. If you want to watch a good defensive game and you're a defensive guy, this is the game for you. It's Iowa and Minnesota playing for a trophy. Always fun to see that. The Hawkeyes are a lot of
disrespect to put on Tim Lester. But
the Hawkeyes are favored by 3. This game is in Minnesota, and it is also a night game on NBC.
Yeah, give me the Gophs. I've always thought that rolling the boat was kind of a fun mantra there. I'm gonna go with Minnesota at home. Don't ask me why. I'm just gonna go with the home team there as the home dog. Give me the Gophers.
All right, I'll disagree.
Taylor's playing now. He's getting into the game, Darius Taylor, so that's a good sign for Minnesota.
I'll take the Hawks. I think the Hawks have been the better team in this rivalry for a while, even though they lost last year in a weird fashion. But tight one against Iowa State last week. I think that they're going to bounce back and win this game.
Okay.
By more than 3, by the way. Another game, this one could be a preview for the Big 12 championship. It's Utah at Oklahoma State, top 15 versus top 15 game. This is a very, very interesting line because as of Wednesday, afternoon, Utah was favored by about 3.5. Now it is Oklahoma State favored by 2.5. That is swung 5.5, 6 points. Not something you see naturally. Someone could be injured. Somebody knows something. And I would just like to go first and say, usually when this happens, they do not move the line far enough. And I think that is a sign that Oklahoma State is going to win this game. At home, it's a mid-afternoon game. So give me the Pokes to win this game by more than 2.5.
And so the suspicion you said is that there's quarterback issues in Utah.
Yeah, it could be that Cam's the only explanation for that is that Cam Rising is out. And I think that's going to be too much.
Cal Whittingham could have been abducted by men from Mars who knows. I'm going to go with, I think you're right, though. That is just wild.
Yeah.
And to me, it says something else could happen too in there where somebody gets wind of a major run of ineligibilities So it could be like, hey, they found out 14 guys were all partying and crashed a car, and they're all not going to play. And the school, for privacy issues, has not made that known, but the Sharps in Vegas heard about it, and they all bet at Oklahoma State or something like that. So, there's something afoot there. I think we'll probably learn, maybe Kirk Herbstreit makes an announcement that, half the Utah team is all, whatever, unable to play because of some scandal or something like that. I think that's even, that much movement is even like maybe more than the quarterback. That could be multiple guys not eligible to play.
Yeah. So you agree?
Yep. I'm going to take the Pokes.
The last game, if you are a fan
I'm a man. I'm 40, so I'm taking Oklahoma State.
If you are a fan of high-scoring games and you remember watching Oklahoma versus West Virginia, basketball on turf, you will love this matchup. It is a 6:30 game on ABC. It is the 6th-ranked Tennessee Vols heading to Norman, Oklahoma to play the Sooners. That is going to be fireworks everywhere.
Welcome to the SEC.
That is going to be a fun one. The Vols are the road favorites, and they are also favored by 7.5 points. I don't know what the over-under on this game is. It could be about 483.5. Still be inclined to pick the over, but this is going to be a fun game for sure.
Yeah, Tennessee looks like they just have this offense, on autopilot this year with Nico. I don't think that Oaklanders can keep it close. I'm picking first here. I'm going to gladly lay those 7 points, and I'm going to take Tennessee on the road. Welcome to the SEC.
Yeah, my heart wants to go hard with Oklahoma, but my head is telling me, Tennessee is.
What is your heart like Oklahoma?
My heart likes Oklahoma because it is a welcome to the SEC moment, and it is a night game, and they are the underdog, and this would be a huge win for Brent Venables. But I'm going to take Tennessee to win this game because, as you said, their offense looks virtually unstoppable right now, and Josh Heupel has things on locks, and so does Nico, and so does all their speedy, quick receivers. Give me Tennessee to cover and score a lot of points in this game.
All right, so we only disagree on one this week.
And one game separates us. So.
Yeah, it's the game up in the cities.
No.
All right, so we went a little long this time. Thanks for hanging there all the way to the end. We will enjoy our time of college football. The Red Raiders are also just locked in defensively. So good this year. Have fun this weekend, Northwestern fans. Until we will see you next time. Until then, I'm the Preacher.
And the Prodigy.
Peace out.
Peace.
Goodbye.